Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, welcome back to today's Pensive Points, and of course, welcome back to me, your lovely host, Christian Watson. It is so good to be with you. Also known as Mr. Watson, don't forget that. Well, my friends, I'll just get right into the chase. It is no secret that the election in the United States of America, the presidential election, is dawning upon us right now. Indeed, in a day or so, Americans will have an idea as to who will be the next occupier, the next occupant, so to speak, of the Resolute desk, of the Oval Office, and consequently over the executive government of America. Many individuals in the country, on both sides of the aisle, are already preparing for the effects of Election Day. Let's be very clear. If Donald Trump manages to reclaim the mantle of power for a second term, there will be carnage in the streets. Rabid leftists will fill the streets, they will riot, they will burn, they will loot, they will screech, and they will bellow out obscenities to do everything they can to ensure that a system that in their opinion, reinstituted an illegitimate person, an illegitimate reign, can no longer be a system of any sort anymore. There will be destruction. However, if Joe Biden wins, which is a very clear possibility, given the Real Clear Politics polling average, which has him up at 7.2 points over the president, a comfortable lead which escapes the margin of error, and has him at 51 percentage points over President Trump's 43. If Joe Biden wins, what do we do for that? Because indeed, scenes from Washington, D.C. and all across the nation of businesses being boarded up to thwart the effects of civil unrest, they abound. They abound everywhere. But images of those of us on the right preparing for what could be a very, very, very tough 4 years, fighting for our rights, where are they? They're nowhere. I was listening to one of my favorite political commentators, Glenn Beck, recently. He had Bill O'Reilly on his show. And O'Reilly said this about a Biden presidency.
As Ed McMahon once said, "You are correct, sir." Okay? And it's on display at college campuses right now. If you want to see what your life's going to be in 3 years, just wander on down to Michigan State University or Harvard and just watch, because that's what it's going to be. You are not allowed to say words. You are not allowed to dissent. You go up to the University of Oklahoma, just get in a car and take a drive up. Ann Coulter, no, you can't have her.
I think such alarmism should be taken in very considerable and prudent doses. Do I think America is going to end if Joe Biden becomes president? No. Do I think America is going to be destroyed if Joe Biden becomes president? No, of course not. But do I believe that the American experiment will be under a very turbulent period and will be assailed consistently by the government, which was meant to preserve it? I do. And that's obvious. So, given all of these possibilities, conservatives and libertarians like myself need to prepare themselves for a Biden victory. And so in the event of Biden victory, I solicit that there are 3 things that you need to do to make sure that you remain safe in both your intellectual, your philosophical, and your spiritual orientation, and that you make sure that for these next few years, you have your eye on the prize and your hand on the ball. Number 1, conservatives and libertarians must not lose themselves. Being panicked over a Biden-Harris win does not help you strategize to preserve your natural freedoms. Being panicked or distraught over a Donald Trump loss does not help you understand the proper condition of government in the first place, which the right prides itself as understanding. And that proper condition is a government that is small enough to ensure that your rights are safe and preserved, and to also ensure that society and social institutions can work as they may. But being upset over someone, a figure, who is meant to convey principles, as opposed to the principles themselves, is a missed opportunity, and it is not wise. Don't lose yourself. Remember who you are. Remember what animates your goals, animates your being and your consciousness. Remember what you can do to have an impact on today's political reality. Remember. Number 2, conservatives and libertarians must begin to fight in the ideas realm. Now, we already do this, but we don't do it too much. It is my belief that we have been focusing on using the government as a tool to further our ideas. Of course, libertarianism and conservatism does not bode itself very well with that method, because a lot of the ideas of those ideologies involve the individuals and involve social action. But unfortunately, I think the government has been used a little bit too much as a crutch to further our ideals. We need to stop that. We need to make sure that our efforts are focused entirely in the ideas realm. Bill O'Reilly said that if Biden and Harris win, America will turn into a giant safe space, a giant college campus safe space. I don't believe it's going to happen. But I do believe that you will have a lot of leftist ideas and models of reality being imposed upon people in coercive fashions. And we will need to communicate to people why those things are bad beyond illiberalism. The right needs to communicate itself in a way that is going to allow it to be a resounding force in the realm of ideas, because guess what? Culture supersedes politics. Culture supersedes politics. If you can maintain the culture, if you can ensure that we have a culture of liberty and individualism, then the politics will not be able to affect the culture too much. But if you have a culture of beggary and defeatism, as we do right now, and you have a government of beggars and defeatists, or people who use beggary and defeatism for their own political purposes, what happens? You have a supercell of destruction just cascading towards all of us. And we don't need that. Conservatives and libertarians, fight on the ideas realm. Get involved in think tanks, universities. Do whatever you can to make sure that you are being an activist outside of a political fashion. Politics deals with that which determines governing. Forget governance for a moment. If these guys win, governance is out the window. Forget governance. Work on yourselves. Work on your communities. That's what will help more than anything else. And number 3, humanize your differently thinking peers. Look, when the rhetoric is that our lives are on the line, and the Democrats hate us, or the Republicans hate us, or whatever, whoever hates us, the establishment wants to kill us, we have a tendency not to see people as actual human beings. Don't allow politics to color your perception of people. Biden and Harris, they're still human beings. They are severely misguided human beings. Harris is a particularly devious human being, but they're human beings. We have to make sure we regard them as such. Because guess what? When we have the cultural argument under our control, the moral argument, a lot of that's going to be about making sure that we're presenting ourselves in a responsible fashion. And if we do that, the left cannot do anything to the tradition of liberty that we have in this country, if we do that. But of course, many people on the left are determined to smear, to attack, and to disgrace. Whenever a few people decide to take up arms and defend the rights that they were instilled with by God, i.e. militias, they will be called violent, extremists, and all other kind of pejoratives which do not serve to paint them in a very rosy picture, or simply talk about the truth of their condition. We have to make sure we are conducting ourselves and appearing kind, nice, affable. Because our actions will be anything but towards the supercell that will be taking over our government. But towards the people that direct that superstate, be kind to them. Be loving towards them. Because love can drive out the lethargy of leftism that promises to take over the government. And finally, my friends, don't panic. Fear is simply the rehearsal of a problem. It is never the rational consideration of a problem. Don't panic. America will survive, you will survive, and we will see another day where America will shine brightly as the shining city on a hill. As Reagan said, this country will be seen as the hope of this earth. I promise you, no administration can take that away. None. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to me. God bless you. Have a phenomenal day. Have a phenomenal life. Please make sure on election day that you are just being rational, that you are in a calm headspace, that you are loving each other, that you are understanding what I've told you in this video today. Share this video. Help other people who may be concerned and maybe on the right. Help them get this message out. Like this video, comment, subscribe, do whatever you can. But most importantly of all, my friends, please stay pensive.